The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to the festival custom. After they had completed its days as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances. But not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. The Gospel of the Lord. It's great to have all the little ones here with us. This has been a great week. It's amazing how fast a week went by, isn't it? For the past week, we've had our vacation Bible school. Over 50 of our young ones have been in the hall, and you've been learning all about the beauty of our Catholic faith. And in a very special way, the emphasis of this past week has been on the Blessed Virgin Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. And today, in fact, we celebrate what's called the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Again, why? Why is that? Why focus on Mary's heart? This is, by the way, the reason why, especially as Catholics, from the very beginning of our church, we always look to Mary as our example on how to follow Jesus. Did you hear in the last part of the gospel? And I'm sure every parent in here probably loved and nodded their head in approval of this. Notice what happened here towards the end of the gospel. It said that Jesus went down to Nazareth, meaning he went home. And notice what Jesus was at home. He says he was obedient to them. What does that mean? Jesus listened to his parents, was obedient. Do you guys listen to your parents all the time? Yes, good. And our parents in here said, yes, finally. That's always hard. It's always hard to listen to our parents, isn't it? But the beautiful thing about our Blessed Mother is that she listened. Or Jesus listened to the Blessed Mother in all things, was obedient, and which is why, from the very beginning of our church, we see Mary as the perfect example on how to be Christians. Do you know how old Mary was when God sent his angel to reveal to her that she would carry Jesus in her womb? Do you remember how old Mary was? She wasn't an old lady. Sometimes when we think of Mary, oh, she's an old lady. In fact, she was young. After this Mass, we have a very special blessing for a young lady as well. I don't know if she's here already, but is Kimberly Zumbo here? Kimberly? There she is, right there. So she's embarrassed now because after Mass, we're going to have what's called a quinceañera blessing over Kimberly. Because Kimberly is celebrating her 15th birthday. Now she's all embarrassed, she's hiding her head. So don't look at her. Everybody, don't look at her. She's embarrassed. You know, 15-year-olds. Mary was 15 years old Around 14 or 15, when the angel appeared to her and says, "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you." And the angel Gabriel said to her the story of what would happen to her. How God himself, Jesus, would be born in her womb, and she would become the mother of Jesus Christ. Imagine that. At 15 years old, Mary was used as the instrument by which Jesus would come into the world. Imagine that. The whole history of salvation was dependent upon a 15-year-old girl. Imagine that. Imagine if Kimberly, when she comes up here after Mass, if she hasn't passed out from embarrassment already, imagine if the whole salvation of all the billions of people rested upon Kimberly's response. It's amazing. And what does Mary do? Mary says yes. Mary always says yes to Jesus. No matter how hard it was to be a Christian, no matter how difficult it was, Mary never abandoned her son. Mary went all the way to Calvary. When everybody else had stopped following Jesus, you know where Mary was? Right there next to Jesus. That is why from the very beginning you begin to see why, as Christians, we saw Mary and we said, "Mary, help us be like you." Sometimes it's hard to be a Christian. Sometimes we get distracted from the world. Sometimes we fall away from following Jesus with all of our heart, mind, and strength. It will happen to all of us. But then we look to Mary, whose heart, pure, undefiled, beautiful. And we say, "Mother Mary, help me be like you, so that I may follow the will of God with my whole life." Now, dear children, do you see why we see Mary as our mother? She is the best mother we can have. The mother of Jesus, our own spiritual mother, who helps us all the way.